Fernanda Torres and her husband, Andrucha Waddington.
A Golden Globe winning actress and a really prolific filmmaker.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to kind of try to untangle their careers, see how they're intertwined, peek into their family life, and hopefully uncover some surprising facts about these two.
Yeah, I think we'll find some interesting stuff. It's always so cool to see how creative partnerships can work, especially within a family.
Oh, absolutely. So let's start with Fernanda Torres. I mean, she made history winning a Golden Globe for Best Actress in I'm Still Here.
First Brazilian actress to ever win one.
And she got an Oscar nomination for the same role, only the second Brazilian woman to ever do that.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a trailblazer.
Especially because of what the film was about, right? She played Eunice Paiva, a mother and activist fighting against Brazil's military dictatorship.
Wow. So it wasn't just a personal victory, it was a win for Brazilian cinema, too. Okay, so then there's her husband, Andrucha Waddington. And he's a filmmaker, producer, screenwriter. He does it all.
He really does. His filmography is so diverse. It's incredible. I mean, you've got everything from Me, You, Them, which was that really sweet romantic comedy.
Oh, yeah.
To Lope, which is a historical drama, Party Crashers, which was a hilarious comedy. And even a segment in Rio, I Love You.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And did you know that before he was making films, he directed over 200 TV commercials?
Really? Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
That's amazing.
And now he's one of Brazil's most awarded music video directors.
You know what? I wonder if that background in commercials kind of influenced his filmmaking style.
How so?
Well, think about it. Commercials have to grab your attention right away and tell a complete story in just a few seconds.
Oh, that's true.
Maybe that's why his films are so visually captivating and his storytelling is so efficient.
Interesting. Okay, so how did these two meet? Seems like such a fascinating pairing.
Well, the article didn't really say, but they got married in 1997. So I imagine their paths must have crossed somewhere in the Brazilian film industry.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe on a film set or at a film festival or something.
Right.
All those creative people in one place, sparks must have flown.
I'm picturing a super glamorous party in Rio
Oh, yeah.
with like beautiful views and amazing music.
Definitely. So they have two sons together, Joaquin, who was born in 2000, and Antonio, born in 2008.
And Joaquin is an actor too,
Oh, wow.
following in his mom's and grandmother's footsteps.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Talk about a talented family.
Right. I wonder if he like grew up watching his mom on set and was just totally mesmerized.
Maybe he was just destined to be an actor.
Yeah, maybe it's in the genes.
It's so interesting how some families just have that artistic spark that gets passed down through generations.
Totally. And then their younger son, Antonio, he seems to stay out of the spotlight.
Oh, yeah.
We just get glimpses of him on Fernanda's social media.
Oh, that's cute.
It's nice that he has that option, you know,
Right.
to choose whether he wants that public life or not.
Andrucha actually has two older sons, too, João and Pedro, from a previous marriage.
Oh, wow. So they have a big blended family.
Yeah, a lot of different personalities and talents in the mix.
I'm sure there's never a dull moment in that household.
I bet.
Yeah.
So on top of everything else, Fernanda and Andrucha have also collaborated on a few projects together. There's Twins, which came out in 1999.
Yeah, and then in 2005, they did The House of Sand.
I've heard great things about that one.
Yeah, it looks really interesting.
And guess what? They're set to collaborate again on a TV series called The End in 2025.
Wow. So in between those collaborations, they've also been doing all this other stuff.
Yeah, their schedules must be insane.
But you know what? It also says a lot about them that even with all that going on, they still make time to work together.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It must mean that they really value those collaborations.
Yeah, it seems like they have a lot of respect for each other's creative visions.
For sure. Andrucha once said that making The House of Sand was like creating an entire universe from scratch.
Yeah.
He even compared the characters to be stranded on the moon.
Wow, that's such a powerful image.
Right? I wonder if working on that film together put any strain on their relationship.
Maybe, but maybe it brought them closer too.
Fernanda actually mentioned feeling claustrophobic while filming, so it sounds like it was a really intense experience.
Yeah, it must have been really challenging, both physically and emotionally.
And you know what? It's interesting because Fernanda was married twice before marrying Andrucha.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, first to Pedro Bial, who's a big-time producer and journalist,
I heard of him.
and then to Gerald Thomas, who's a director and playwright.
It's cool how their lives seem to be so intertwined with the Brazilian entertainment industry.
Right. It's like everyone knows everyone.
Yeah, it's a small world, I guess.
And there's actually a really sweet story about Gerald Thomas. After Fernanda won her Golden Globe, he publicly congratulated her and talked about how important that award was for her and for Brazilian cinema.
Oh, that's really nice of him.
It sounds like they ended on good terms.
Yeah, it's good to hear that there's no bad blood between them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they were married for a while, so it's nice to know they still have respect for each other.
Yeah, totally. So we've covered a lot here. What are your thoughts so far?
I'm fascinated by how different their backgrounds are, yet they've managed to create such a successful partnership, both personally and professionally.
Yeah, that is really interesting, and it makes me wonder how those differences influence their work together.
And you know what else is interesting? Fernanda's mother, Fernanda Montenegro, was also an Oscar-nominated actress.
Really? Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I wonder if that family legacy of artistic talent had an influence on Andrucha too.
Oh, definitely. I mean, being married into a family of such acclaimed actors must have had an impact on his creative vision.
Yeah, I think so too. I'd love to know more about Fernanda Montenegro and how her career might have influenced both Fernanda and Andrucha.
That's a great idea. Why don't we dive into that next?
Perfect. We'll be right back to explore this fascinating family's artistic legacy.
Welcome back. We were just talking about Fernanda's mother, Fernanda Montenegro. You know, she was an Oscar-nominated actress.
Right. It's like having a legend in the family. Did Fernanda inherit her acting talent from her mother? Or was it being raised in that environment?
It's probably a mix of both nature and nurture.
Right. Imagine growing up with Fernanda Montenegro as your mom.
Oh my gosh.
Watching her on set, seeing her transform into these amazing characters.
I'd be starstruck.
It must have been so inspiring. And for Andrucha, too.
Oh yeah, totally. Even though he wasn't born into that acting dynasty, marrying into it definitely put him at the center of it all.
Yeah, think about it. Family dinners, holidays.
Oh gosh.
All those conversations about acting and storytelling.
It's like having a masterclass every day.
Okay, but did they ever collaborate, all three of them?
I don't think so. At least not according to the article.
Oh, that's too bad. I would love to see that. But we can always hope, right?
Exactly. There's always more to discover.
Right. Okay, so let's switch gears back to Fernanda and Andrucha's careers for a sec. We talked about Fernanda's Golden Globe win, but her career goes way beyond that.
Yeah, she's done it all: film, TV, theater. And she's not afraid to take risks. She's done comedies, dramas, everything in between.
And remember how she talked about feeling claustrophobic while filming The House of Sand?
Oh, yeah.
It seems like she really immerses herself in her roles.
Definitely. She's not afraid to be vulnerable and let the character take over.
That's the mark of a true artist, right?
Absolutely. So what about Andrucha?
Yeah.
We talked about how diverse his filmography is, but do you see any recurring themes in his work?
That's a good question. I think one thing that stands out is his focus on human relationships.
Yeah, especially within families. Like in The House of Sand, you have those 3 generations of women.
Right.
And the film really digs deep into those complicated family dynamics.
And he seems drawn to stories that are rooted in Brazilian culture.
Yeah, like Lope,
Uh-huh.
which is all about Brazilian theater.
Right. And even his segment in Rio, I Love You, captures the essence of that city.
Yeah, it's like he's using his films to explore what it means to be Brazilian.
And share it with the world.
Exactly. It's like he's saying, hey, come see my country through my eyes.
It's so cool how film can do that, right?
Totally. It can connect us to different cultures and perspectives.
And speaking of different perspectives, Andrucha has worked in so many different mediums.
Oh, yeah. Film, TV, music videos, commercials.
Do you think that's influenced his storytelling?
I think so.
Yeah.
Each medium has its own unique challenges and demands.
Yeah. Like commercials have to be super concise.
Right, and music videos are all about visuals and emotion.
So by working across all those mediums, he's probably developed a really versatile skill set.
Absolutely. It's like he's constantly experimenting and pushing the boundaries of storytelling.
You never know what he's going to do next, but you know it's going to be good.
That's what makes him so exciting to watch.
Totally. This whole deep dive has been so eye-opening.
Yeah, me too.
What should we explore next?
I think it's time to finally dive into The House of Sand.
Yes! Let's do it. Okay, so we're finally here. The House of Sand. It seems like such a powerful film.
It really is. It's one of those movies that just stays with you long after you've seen it.
Yeah, and it perfectly captures so many of the things we've been talking about. Andrucha's fascination with human relationships, his love of Brazilian culture.
Right. It's all there in this one film.
So for those who haven't seen it, tell us a little bit about what The House of Sand is about.
Well, it's about 3 generations of women who end up stranded in a remote desert region of Brazil. And it's really about their struggle for survival, but also about the bonds of family and how they can be both a source of strength and a source of conflict.
And the setting itself is so important, right? It's not just a backdrop. It's almost like a character in the film.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. The vastness of the desert, the isolation, it really adds to the emotional weight of the story.
Andrucha described it as creating an entire universe from scratch.
Yeah, he really did. And it's so visually stunning.
Oh, absolutely. And I love how Fernanda talked about feeling claustrophobic while filming.
Even though they're surrounded by all that open space.
Exactly. It's like the isolation and the weight of their situation just closes in on them.
It must have been a really intense experience for her as an actress.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder how she and Andrucha navigated that as a couple, too.
Right. Like, was it hard to separate their work from their personal life?
Or maybe it brought them closer together. We can only speculate.
Oh, whatever happened behind the scenes, the final product is incredible.
It really is. And it's just one example of their amazing collaborations.
Right. We can't forget about twins.
And then there's the end, which is still to come.
I'm so curious to see what they come up with next.
Me too. It's exciting to think about all the possibilities. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Fernanda Torres and Andrucha Waddington, what have we learned?
Well, I think we've learned that they're both incredibly talented artists in their own right.
Absolutely.
But when they come together, they create something truly special.
Yeah, it's like their individual talents complement each other perfectly.
Exactly. And I think we've also seen how their personal lives and their cultural heritage have shaped their creative vision.
Right. It's like all those things come together to inform their work.
And hopefully, this depth dive has inspired you to check out their films and discover their amazing work for yourself.
I hope so too. Thanks for joining me on this journey. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise. Until next time.